Hey YouTube, Ibanez Blazer. I'm not really 100% sure what a Blazer is as opposed to being a Roadster, if it's part of the Roadster, right? This is a Blazer series custom made. I think they're a wee bit pushing with the word custom. I think it's a slight translation there. It's not custom. Well, this is a factory made guitar. So this is from 1982. I'm not sure. I should probably look up the factory. I think these are normally Fuji Gen. Starts with a G, 82. Was that right? I should probably look that up. But there you go. Anyway, one of the great things about Ibanez, which I wasn't really aware of actually. If you go to the actual official Ibanez site, look up catalogs. They've got all the catalogs. Hey, so it's not like all the other, the other 80s guitars I like. Well, this sits right in the middle of my favoured era and place. Early 80s Japan, best guitars in the world. So luckily this guitar sold. It's not mine. I've got it in getting fixed. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's rather nice and very, very, very tempting. But so luckily it's sold, so I don't have to worry about that. It was almost a relief rather than having to try and do a deal with the guy who's selling it. I was just in fixing one of the switches was bent or it kind of rotated. I'm not sure whether it was working or not, but it was well wobbly, so I said I would fix that. I've set it up, done a wee bit of fret work, basically cleaned it, adjusted the truss rods, saddles, intonation, all that sort of stuff. So it's now playing really well. So this has, looking up information on this has Super Tap 6 pickups. And it's like, see, they've got 3 adjustment screws, which is pretty rare for single coil pickups, but they're coil tapped. And it's like, although I'm probably guilty of it myself sometimes, so, coil tap, but it's single coils. You may be saying that's because coil tapping's not the same as coil splitting, or coil defeat is what Washburn used to call it, which is a lot. That guitar's got it, where you've basically got a humbucker, and what you do is you take out one of the coils, so you only listen to one of them, so it sounds like a single coil. That's obviously not what these do, because these are single coils. So these, what they do is, you've got your magnet with a wire wrapped around it. That's your pickup, a very basic pickup. And if you wrap it round X amount of times, 10,000 or say 5,000 times, you've got like a vintage voiced pickup, like a low output super jangly pickup. And if you wrap it round 8,000 times, you get like a hot, sort of more modern type pickup. You would think, oh, hot's better. It's like, you always see that going up. Pickups described as hot, and everyone thinks, oh, you want a hot pickup, and it's, to be honest, I don't. I love it the other way around. So what this does is the 5,000 and 8,000 was just a random numbers. It's something like that though, I think. So what you do is you wrap your pickup once you've gone around 5,000 times. You put a wee tab on, and then you continue wrapping it up to 8,000. So you've got 2 tabs. You've got a start and 2 tabs, and you can switch between them. So you've got vintage voice pickups or more modern hot pickups. So that's what this switch does. It does, so the switch does 2 of them. It does the neck and the bridge position. If this was my guitar, I would put in a 9-pole switch, which I don't think existed in 1982, which is why it doesn't, which would tap all 3. So this one here, although it is a tappable pickup, it's always on full power, whereas these two, with a switch, you can reduce them. It's got a phase switch, which is the one I replaced. When I first saw it, I assumed it was 2 coil splits, but no, it's 2 coil taps. So I'm so against saying, I'm checking myself, because every time I say coil tap, I'm so used to not calling them, trying not to call them that in humbucker equipped guitars, because it's, even the catalogues, Epiphone and Gibson catalogues say coil taps, and you're looking at it as a humbucker, and it's like, it's not coil taps. The one exception is, I think I need to have I need to take my Schecter to bits, because it says in the advert, it's got, tappable humbuckers, and I kind of believe them. It's got quite a few terminals in the back, so I wonder if it is actually possible to tap a humbucker. The same sort of way you wrap it 2/3 of the way around and take a wee tab off and then continue it on. So I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do that with 2 pickups. It's doing it with 2 pickups here. So a humbucker's just 2 of these joined together, so it must be feasibly possible somewhere. So I'll need to have a look at that at some point. So basically, the Super 6 pickups. So Ibanez Blazer series. the different pickup comes in new Blazer series, a famed Super 70 open coil humbuckers. That's not in this. A premium bit. So I reckon this is a BL550. It's a BL Blazer, a Blazer 550. Actually, if you look a few years later, the RG550, not like the sort of standard. Kinda, that's what this was. This basically this is an Ibanez RG, a pre-Ibanez RG. So I'd imagine the Blazer must have run for a while, and then you had the Roadsters, which were to very similar sort of thing. You know, it's like it went from the Blazer to the Roadster, or maybe they were both running concurrently. I'm not really sure about that. I know that because I've got a Roadster RG being Roadster guitar. Yes, so that's when you buy your RG550 or your RG1500, it's Roadster guitar. That's what RG stands for. The reason I don't really have any other Ibanez is because I've got the best one. Well, a really, really, really pretty Ibanez 530. If you look that up on my site, you'll see it and you'll just go, alright, I can see why you think that's something special. It's the same model that Gary Moore used in the Out in the Fields recording, Floyd Rose, and it's not quite this shape. It's got binding on it, so it's like a flat top, a similar headstock shape, but it's got 24 frets, but it's a kind of modification of this shape. Before that was 1986, and then 1987 Steve Vai came out with his Gem, and then that's what we now know as an RG shape, whereas the one I've got is kind of this sort of shape but with binding. Yeah, all sounds very confusing. It's not. So this has got a wonderful one-piece maple neck. It's one of those things I'm all for. I just love one-piece maple necks. Got Ibanez smooth tuners on it, very nice. Actually looking at them now, I am pretty sure they're Goto, because they look almost identical to the Washburn ones that are in the back of this base, which I had to bits and replace some parts in. So I'm pretty sure that they're Goto. Some of it, brass saddles. Had a wee the block in the black in the back was a little bit it's old and dirty, so I gave it a wee bit of a go in the wild to see if it was brass. Don't think it is. I think it's steel, or maybe steely coloured brass. I'm not sure it's got a brass block. Yeah, 5-way switch, volume, tone, and a phase switch. So yeah. So there's our neck pickup. And be prepared to want coil taps. You need to have special pickups for the coil taps. I've only got one guitar that's got coil taps. It's a Yamaha, and actually it's got 3 pickup screws per pickup as well. Single coils. It's an SC400, and it's got coil taps that I had to fit myself. But so there you go. Normal, full power, tapped. Hear it? It just kind of opens everything up, and that's what kind of when you get a coil tap, you start going like that. But do you want hot pickups in your guitar? And it's like, well, it's just so much more jangly. I'll put it back to full power. Position 4, which is these two. Well, naturally, the coil tap still does make a difference, even though you're not tapping the middle one. You're just tapping this one, but you are using both of them. So that's with this one on a full coil. That's a tap. A wee bit more snap to it. Yes. And then the other switch is phase. So what it does is it basically all it does is flip around the wires on the middle pickup. Just taking the negative and the positive and swapping them around, which means instead of working with that pickup, is working against it. So you get this sound. Which is, as I always say with phase, I think if you're into funk, then it's maybe really useful. Or if you're kind of if you're messing about, like I do with it, or even just recording, it's kind of, it's got a sort of acousticiness to it. In fact, you can actually tap this one as well when you're doing that. Oh. That's interesting. That's much less phased and thin and hackett sounding when you've got this one tapped. So maybe that's because this pickup is now much more powerful than this one. So instead of the two of them fighting against each other, and then you only get the middle one's more powerful, so it's winning. So you're getting a phase zing effect, but not an absolute all-out phase. They kind of know what they're doing. You know, making these guitars. Back in phase. Middle pickup on its own, it's a bit boring. I know it's not phase. I know it's not coil split. Coil tapped. I put the wire in. I looked at it, the first thing I looked at. Yeah, but just two. And then untapped. See, I think that's a really great sound. It's only let down by the fact that when you actually tap the bridge pickup, it's better to my ears. When you're on full power, it's just a standard sort of stratty position 2 sound, but even better coil tap. And then you can phase it again. And then last position is bridge pickup. So bridge pickup high output. Bridge pickup low output. Yeah, so as I said, just go with the phase there. The phase reverses the middle pickup. So if you've just got the middle pickup selected and volume turned up, and you reverse the phase, it does still reverse the pickup, but because you're just hearing it, the pickup doesn't really care which way it's round. It's only when you put two of them together, or more than one pickup together, that they can be out of phase with each other, because you can't be out of phase if you're only one thing. You know, you can't be walking in you can't be walking in opposite directions if there's only one of you. You're not, you know. That makes sense. Maybe not a good analogy. So I'll stick a wee bit of a jam in. It's been 13 minutes of talking about this, but this is a really nice guitar. The body match headstock is really good. Actually, there was another page there. What was it said on that? There was a front page and a back page in this, and it had something written. That was all new Ibanez series electronics pack with outstanding features and affordable price. Bodies are of select ash or mahogany, so it'll be ash because there's a few chips down at the bottom. You can see it's not mahogany. All Blazer makes are one-piece rock maple with an adjustable truss rod. It's got a favourite kind of truss rod with the bullet type that you can actually see when you're putting the Allen key in. So rather than putting the wrong Allen key in and tune it up, you can see that you've got the right one because it's sitting right there. Blazer is well balanced, comfortable and solid built. Blazer guitars and basses feature heavily polished brass hardware. Well, it could do with a heavy polishing. I didn't do that because it's not my guitar. If it had been mine, this would have been getting absolutely, I would have got that super shiny, but I mean it takes hours to do that. Not doing it, it's not my guitar. Bridge and saddles. Each bridge saddle is individually adjustable for height and intonation length. That's a real. Ooh, it's like every guitar's got that. Well, Strats have had that forever. You know, it's like you don't. I wouldn't. It's bizarre to put that as a feature in like, you know, in a one-page advert. Anyways, all Blazer guitars feature phase reverse switch, and the BL500 and BL550 feature the coil tap. See, if I was doing that advert, I would have maybe times change. I would have highlighted the fact it's got coil taps pretty big. I would also have highlighted the painted headstock and the fact it's a one-piece maple neck, which she did. So I suppose you got to see it's an ash body, but yeah. So jam time. Try different. Go for it. You'll use a phased sound from a backing track. Never going to solo over that, am I? Something a bit slower. Sort of reggae now. Misfits. Unphased position 4. Stacking a box distortion. Strings on it, no stretch man yet. Does a high power, bridge pickup, low power. maybe the full coil works better with distortion. One more on the Joyous Dream pedal. Full power neck pickup. I'm going to stop playing this because this is a really, really nice guitar. A lot of this is down to just, I mean, it sits right in the middle of my preferred era and location for guitars anyway, and I think it looks amazing. So it's already got a super advantage of me. I'm already impressed with the coil taps before I even turned them on. But yeah, I could totally own this. In many ways, I'm quite pleased that it's not for sale. Or it was for sale, and I don't have the option to buy it. It was very tempting. I bought it off them. Had it in for a repair from a shop in Glasgow, and I don't know, just because the switch was burst. So it's really nice. So it kind of, maybe it's just a gold hardware. It kind of reminds me of my Aria Pro ZZB bass, which is an Explorer shaped bass and it's a bass. So I mean, why it reminds me of that is just, I think maybe just because the wood is very similar. Is it maybe because it's got gold hardware as well, makes it just kind of remind me of it, even though this is a guitar and it's a bass. It's kind of not entirely dissimilar to my the 16th ever Squire Bullet, Japan as well, Fujigen actually. So it's 1983, is that? So basically it's that, but this shape. That's maybe why it feels so much like it. It's, you know, basically you can't go wrong. Guitars from this era are just absolutely stunning. I mean, I would pretty much think that I hate to think how much you'd have to spend going into a guitar shop just now, going to the vendors and going, right, here's my guitar, I want one better than this. You're going to struggle. I know it doesn't say Fender America on it, therefore it's not as good. And if you really want a Fender, Jimi Hendrix didn't play one of these, he played a Fender Strat. Even though this is probably more like Jimi Hendrix's Fender Strat than anything you can buy now. So this has just added itself to my list. The colour's lovely, it's like a sort of candy apple red. It's not in that advert, but I have seen a basically candy apple sort of turquoisey blue one somewhere. And that would maybe be slightly higher up my list than this one, just because it's a really cool colour. So it's not the absolute ultimate one, I don't think. Basically this, but in the candy apple blue, and I'm buying it basically. And I was probably saying then about if I'd, you know, it annoys me that only these two pickups are coil split. I'm not sure, because the switch can only do two things at a time. I'm not sure I would put the three-way in, because it really made a difference in that. But when I was playing in the in between position, you know, position 4. So there's your position 4. When you split it works really well having the two mismatched. Well, when I say mismatched, you know, different output pickups together. It really does sound quite nice, and especially on the phase one. So you get super thin phase, and you get not as thin. I think the phase is one of those things that, see, maybe if you're in a 2-guitar band, or God forbid like a 3-guitar band, like a Leonard Skinner or something, I bet you in Leonard Skinner someone would use a phase switch if they had it, because you can just, it's a completely different sound, so you're going to cut through the mix, you know, it's more of a sort of biting cut through the mix. I suppose that's where the funk thing comes in. You know, you're playing along with the funk bass, and then you've got super sharp guitar, like kind of on its own, and hearing the frequency where the bass is taking up all this. You don't want to be encroaching that, so you get the bass on its own, then you can come in up here with your super jankiness. I need to actually learn some fucking. I played with Jesse Ray for like 10 gigs for about a year. I was like, still don't really understand funk. At the time I didn't understand it at all, whereas now I get it on the bass. But guitar, it's like just playing on the one. Yep, so there we go, half an hour of talking rubbish, but it's in my Ibanez collection. It's in my preferred range, and Japanese guitars are just awesome. I love them. Rock on, people!